A baby girl was found floating in the Torres Strait, alone, in the darkness, in the middle of the ocean. Her parents were gone. Her name, unknown. Everything about her, a complete mystery. Someone had placed her on a piece of floating wreckage before they disappeared beneath the water. A final act of love from parents nobody ever identified. She survived. She grew up. She lived a full life. And she carried the name they gave her, Quetta Brown, for the rest of her days. Because that was the name of the ship that took everything from her and somehow gave her back to the world.
February 1890, Brisbane, Australia. The RMS Quetta is one of the finest ships on the Australian run, a Royal Mail ship built in Scotland in 1881. 380 feet of iron-hulled elegance. She carries the Queen's mail. She carries passengers between Brisbane and London. She has made this run 11 times without a single incident. The passengers boarding in Brisbane are a cross-section of the world. Wealthy Queenslanders heading home to England, families, couples, prominent citizens. In the first-class saloon, passengers already planning the entertainment for the long voyage ahead. A concert being rehearsed, music selected, an evening of culture planned for when the ship clears Australian waters. Below, steerage passengers, immigrants, workers, families who saved for years for this crossing. And on deck, 62 Javanese laborers returning home to Batavia after working Queensland's sugarcane fields. 293 people total, all trusting a ship that has never let anyone down. The Torres Strait lies ahead, a narrow passage between the Pacific and Indian Oceans. Thousands of islands and reefs, some charted, some not. The route is well known. The pilot is experienced. Captain Sanders is one of the most respected men on the Australian run. The evening of February 28th is perfect. Clear sky, good visibility, calm water. Everything exactly as it should be. At 9:14 p.m., it stops being exactly as it should be.
The RMS Quetta strikes an uncharted rock in the Adolphus Channel. Not a reef anyone knew about, not a hazard on any chart. A rock pinnacle rising from the ocean floor in the middle of the main shipping channel. Invisible, unknown, waiting. The impact tears a hole through the hull from bow to engine room, 4 to 12 feet wide. The entire lower section of the ship ripped open in one catastrophic moment. Water floods in at a rate that defies description. In the first-class saloon, passengers rehearsing their concert feel the shudder. Some laugh nervously. A lost propeller, perhaps. The captain will make an announcement. The carpenter reaches the bridge. She's sinking. Not slowing. Sinking. The ship has 5 minutes, perhaps less. Captain Sanders runs aft, shouting for passengers to move toward the stern as the bow goes down. But 5 minutes is nothing. Not enough time to find your children in the dark below decks. Not enough time to reach the lifeboats being frantically lowered by crew whose feet are already getting wet. The stern rises out of the water. The RMS Quetta plummets, bow first, into the Torres Strait. 3 minutes. From impact to gone, 3 minutes. 293 people thrown into the dark tropical water at 9:17 p.m. on February 28, 1890. The Torres Strait at night. Dark, warm, alive with currents. Survivors grab whatever floats. Wooden hatch covers, cargo, pieces of the ship. Alice Nicklin finds herself clutching a dead sheep until a wooden board floats past. She grabs it. She holds on for hours. Captain Sanders, in a lifeboat, pulls survivors from the dark water. Second Officer James Scott continues searching 2 hours after everyone else has stopped. Some swim toward the nearest land, Mount Adolphus Island. Tiny, remote, no people, no shelter, just sand and jungle, and the sound of the ocean that just swallowed their ship. 100 people make it to that island. They wait through the night, through the next day. Some, like 16-year-old Emily Lacey, traveling to finishing school in London, remain in the water for 36 hours before being found. And then, someone finds the baby. A tiny girl, floating on wreckage, alive, completely uninjured, too young to speak, too young to know her own name. Nobody recognizes her. Nobody claims her. Every manifest checked, every survivor asked.
Nobody knows who she is. Her parents went down with the ship. Her name, her history, everything, gone beneath the water. A local man named Brown adopts her, names her Quetta Brown, after the ship that orphaned her and the ocean that spared her. 134 people die. The inquiry exonerates Captain Sanders completely. The rock was unknown, unmarked, on no chart. It is named Quetta Rock and added to every chart that follows.
There is a church on Thursday Island today, built in 1892, the Quetta Memorial Church. Inside, a saloon table from the RMS Quetta serves as the altar, a porthole from the wreck, a lifebelt, stained glass windows carrying the names of the dead. The wreck rests on her port side, 18 meters below the Torres Strait, largely intact, coral and fish covering the iron hull. Divers swim through the cabins where first-class passengers rehearsed their concert on the last evening of their lives. But what stays with you is not the wreck, not the inquiry, not even the 3 minutes. It is the baby. Someone in those final moments, as the ship plunged and the darkness came, thought not of themselves, but of the child in their arms. Found a piece of wreckage, placed her on it, made sure she would float, and then let go. We do not know who they were. Mother, father, a stranger. We do not know if they survived. We only know what they did. Quetta Brown grew up, lived her life in Queensland, carried a name that was both a wound and a gift. 134 people died on the RMS Quetta on February 28, 1890. And one baby girl floated to safety, placed there by hands that loved her enough to let her go.